Hey, this is Randy Gray again. It's been a while since we made a video. I'm out here with the 308, the Savage Axis heavy barrel, and doing some more tests. On the previous test, on the previous video, I had the Savage Axis heavy barrel in 308, and it was pretty much stock. All I did was attach a bipod and a scope, and with 3 different brands of 150 grain ammo, and that video is up now. I started doing some modifications, and the first round was replacing the stock, and you can see the butt of it here, Boyds thumb hole, fit for the heavy barrel. I used the same scope, the Redfield scope that I used before. I tested some ammo out, but the strangest thing, I didn't even bother to keep the targets. The patterns were gradually getting worse, and I guess I was concerned. It's like, all right, did I do something wrong with the rifle, or is it, well, at least the Redfield, it's lifetime warranted, but you know, I was thinking, okay, maybe I need to bed the stock. Everything was going through my mind of what could have gone wrong. And it probably wasn't me, because I was testing 2 rifles at the same time. I had a 6.5 Remington Magnum, and I was going on with it. So I know it wasn't all of me, but the patterns just weren't acceptable. I didn't even keep the targets. But I took it home, and I went ahead and bedded the stock. That was the first thing I was going to do. And the trigger job, I kept the same trigger. And I'll show it in the video here. But the interesting thing, though, after I bedded the stock, it all fit great. When I was checking to see the movement laterally and rotationally on the barrel, I kept feeling a movement, and I was wondering, what was that? You know, and the more I checked, it turns out it was, you know, because I still had the scope mounted and everything, and it wasn't the problem with the scope. It was a problem with the mount. And even though I put the Weaver mount on and put blue Loctite, did the works, it still managed to work its way loose, and that's what was causing the patterns to start spraying around. It was actually loose. So I took it off, remounted the base, and then I went ahead and upgraded the Redfield scope. I'm using now one of the Battlezone. It's a 6x18 by 44. It's the Battlezone series that unfortunately is discontinued now. I'm sure Redfield's going to replace it with something, because Redfield makes a pretty good scope. I'm pretty pleased with them. But, you know, given the longer ranges I want to shoot at, I went ahead and replaced it. Plus my eyesight's going bad. So here I am with those modifications. And I'm going to test a series of ammunition ranging from 150 to 165 and 180 grain, all off the shelf, just to see what happens, just to see what it see if it, you know, likes a heavier load, or, you know, which one. Because right now it was favoring just the regular Federals at 150 grain, just inexpensive ammunition shelf, and I was getting pretty decent patterns, anywhere from, you know, 0.75, 0.8, and up to 1. So it was still at 1. But I just wanted to see how this performs with the different grains, the higher grain bullets, and then probably start working in the hand loads and optimize it that way. But I just want to make sure that everything I've done with the rifle is sound and secured. Oh, also I replaced the trigger guard. So when I changed the metal trigger guard, there's the new metal one. It's because the plastic, this is the old plastic one that came off, but when I try to torque it down, you can see the plastic just breaks off. And I never could torque it down enough to really seat it properly. So I put the metal trigger guard on. It was a huge help. So I would show you what I'm doing on the targets, but I don't have a second camera. I'll go ahead and make some shots, and then we'll review the patterns afterwards. So here's the targets I used on the last outing. I guess we'll start from the ground up. This was using, you can see the Federal 150 grain soft point. Just the regular old off the shelf. And it looks like the farthest point to point on this grouping was a 2.8, but it kept an average. What you said is 1.5 inch from hole to hole. Then I moved up and was shooting the Fusion 308 165 grains. You can see this little pattern. It was, keeping a decent grouping in here. Had that one little stray, but still about a 2.9. Pretty consistent. Then I moved over and started using this Remington up to a, let's see, here we go, a 180 grain core lock. Now I had really good success with the 150 grain Remington core lock on the last, had a pretty good grouping. If I remember right, it was about a 0.78 or so, 0.8. This one is still a 3.2. You can tell the heavier bullets, the heavier grain, the grouping's starting to lower down. But I was still keeping my point of aim on all these, just dead center. And I just wanted to see what the groupings look like. And you can tell the breeze was going a little left to right. And the 3.2 was the farthest. Nothing great. Then I used the 168 grain AMAX from Beck's Ammunition, pretty decent, and it was saying, thought it was pretty interesting. There we go. Use a 111 to 1 to 12 barrel twist, and I know this Ruger heavy barrel, I believe it's 1 in 10. I don't know what powder they used on this, but it is the Hornady A grade and had a nice little 5-shot group. And farthest one, 1.1. It looks like about an average of ½ inch from hole to hole with the maximum 1.1 grouping, but that was pretty decent. At this point, I'll probably start moving up and start hand loading. And you'll see I'll probably use the 165 or 168 grain Hornady SSTs, I think. But we'll see when the time comes. Now I verified when I went back and finished these targets, went and put a couple more back, and I cleaned the barrel after these groupings here. cleaned the barrel out, and then I went and shot more of the Federals and more of the Becks of the AMAX bullets on 2 separate targets. I didn't keep the target, but I did get a snapshot through the scope. So, but that's what it looks like, just to verify it. But I didn't get this same pattern that I did on this 5-shot group. So I'll still be playing with the rifle and the stock. I'm going to probably review the bedding on it again, make sure it's sound, and now that I have some metal components instead of the plastic, I might try to do some pillar bedding on it also. That's the only thing I haven't done on this wood stock. I have not pillar bedded it yet. So I don't know. Try to get some accuracy out of this thing and some consistency. That's the biggest thing. So here's the status so far from all the modifications. Of course, I replaced the stock with the Boyd stock, and it is bedded. I did a trigger job and then replaced the trigger guard with the metal trigger guard, replaced the plastic one. Sitting on a bipod, and I'm using a Redfield Battlezone 6x18x44 scope. Sorry, but this one has been discontinued, but Redfield makes a good variety of scopes, and I'll be reviewing some here in the near future. And I'll probably still be messing with the stock a little bit. You can see I'm playing with sanding this down just so the reach from my finger, from my trigger finger, will be a little better. Sorry for the shakes, but and I cleaned it up a little bit down in here. Got rid of some shavings, just got a file and some sandpaper and smoothed that out. That is how it sits right now. I might put a recoil pad there. Other than that, that's how it sits, and that's probably the way it will stay until I try some hand loads. So that will be coming up. Well, I wanted to give a quick update. I took everything apart, and I was going to check the stock and check the bedding on it and see about possibly pillar bedding this also. Not only with the now, especially back here, I'm comfortable with pillar bedding it now that I have this metal trigger guard. But on the front, this Boyd stock also comes with this plastic piece that sits down, and this is the clip for the magazine. But when I took it off, see if we can get that in focus. Come on now. There we go. You can see how that piece is already starting to crack up. With these plastic pieces, I just can't torque everything down. So maybe this is another reason why I'm not getting consistent groupings. Did get one good grouping out of it, but yeah, so maybe I'll see about go to a machine shop or somewhere and see if we can make a duplicate this metal, make it out of metal, duplicate this, and possibly even pillar bed the front and the rear. But I'm definitely going to try to get rid of all this plastic. But that's the update.